example, the one for LinkedIn is really cool. Okay, so one of the things that we are also going to do is to do AI, to build AI agents. And the thing with agents is, I think we saw here, like, do you see how you can build deeper reasoning and you can control, or at least you can see how these systems are thinking. But of course, in this case, you can only read, right? You can only read. But what if you can actually define those steps? You can really define those steps. So let's see how, right? Let's do an agent that is going to advise us on our communication style before we post on LinkedIn. Okay. The first thing, of course, that we would do is to get the data, right? Why? Because it's, you can do it without the data, but I think it's always better to have that. So what I did here is I show you how to download the data from LinkedIn, from your page, right? And basically, imagine that you have done all that, and I think I have my data here. And then I'm going to say, no, not here, it's going to be here. Here, right? And I say, look, the first one, I want to get better at writing on LinkedIn. This is what I do. I do it for LinkedIn myself every day. So the first thing is I say, look at this data. This data, those are everything that I have posted in the past, and also how many impressions it got, how many clicks, how many likes, everything, right? And then what I'm telling them is look at the top performing ones and identify the patterns, identify what was in all of them that really made them work, right? So of course, what these systems do is, firstly, they got rid of the worst performing ones. So they say, okay, so those are the ones that got the most impressions. I didn't ask them to do that, but already does it for me. And this is the tone and voice. Okay, so for example, you are conversational, you sound human, not institutional, you use mild sarcasm, you use cultural references, right? Interesting, that it says that about me. Emojis are using, but I don't use them a lot. And those are the do's and don'ts. Start doing this, don't use hashtags, don't write like a press release or a briefing, right? And then, what I will do is, for example, is, okay, I'm happy, but I want to do more. I want to sound more like, for example, analyze the social media style of, I like Axios, which is an American news agency. I like Brett Kobie from Vamp, which is an agency. And I like the style, for example, of these two. These two I think are fine, right? And what I do is I put this chat to work to do work for me, right? So for Axios, this is their tone of voice. It gives me a few links. This idea of the smart brevity is central to the work they do. Then Brett Kobie, it identifies him, and this is how he communicates, right? All right. So imagine that I'm happy, and I say, okay, I am happy. So step 5 is generate a style guide based on all the above, right? Based on my data and based on the other organizations, create a style guide. And here I have. It has a LinkedIn style guide. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, nice. So what I will do is, for the sake of this exercise, is I'm going to create a document, a Word document, for example, here. And I'm going to download it. You can download it as a doc or a PDF, right? And then what you do is you go to ChatGPT, right? And you're going to find your agents in ChatGPT are called GPTs, right? Because this is recorded, you will see this, you can follow step by step. In your GPTs, you can look at, and in our workshop, we spend some time looking at this and see what other tools someone else has used that you can be using that will be better than a normal chat. But let's say that we create our own GPT, right? And GPTs, even in Gemini or in Microsoft, they have the same structure. The most important thing for them are the instructions and the knowledge, right? So for example, this is going to be a very basic one. In the workshop, we're going to do very advanced agents. But for example, I can say the LinkedIn style guide for European campaign playbook. Okay. And here, okay, for ECP. For ECP. Here in the description is this bot is ready to provide advice on your LinkedIn draft post following our own style guide. Okay. This doesn't make a difference because this is more for you, right? And then you have the instructions, right? And then what do you do in the instructions? We will go in the actual session. We're gonna really cover this because it really takes almost half of the session is explaining this. But long story short, right? You're lucky. I have created a robot that creates robots for you, right? Alternatively, ChatGPT is doing a competition because they have also created a robot to help you create a robot, right? Like it works. So actually, what I would recommend, I am not happy with what OpenAI does, and what I teach at the workshop is way more advanced. But for the sake of it, imagine that you say, look, I want to create a GPT that reviews every draft post for LinkedIn, reviews it against my guidelines, and suggest a new post that follows the guidelines. Okay? So basically, you talk to this bot, and this bot is going to create your GPT automatically. Okay? That's the stage that we are, like bots that help you create bots. I mean, this is crazy. Okay? There you go. So now if I go to configure, I can see that all this information is filled for me, right? The only thing that I will need to do is to upload my LinkedIn style guide, right? All right. And always, we will look at this, but always use the latest models and always click all the options, at least for this, okay? All right. And then, for example, and now what this agent is going to do is, if I say, it was a great demo session on the AI for advocacy workshop, we launch a campaign to promote cultural dialogue in Europe, and we build our own LinkedIn AI agent, right? Join our workshop next Friday in Brussels, okay? So this is probably what I would type on LinkedIn now, but what I want now is this agent to review this style guide, tell me what's working, tell me what needs improvement, and in the end, gives me a final post. This is nothing. Like this, we only have 10 minutes. But you can get to such a, like, imagine that now you can create different robots within this GPT that challenge each other. Imagine, like, you can build in these instructions, step by step, you can build whole processes. And then the robot will follow that process diligently every time. And this is why AI agents are interesting, because now you can control what they do. And if you control what they do and you control the knowledge that they use, then the output is going to be insanely better, right? And this is also what the workshop is about. Peter, if you are still with us, we are having this workshop on next Friday in Brussels, and as you can see, we will spend the whole day together, and we will dedicate pretty much from 11 till the end. We're gonna spend all this time talking about AI agents. We're gonna do a lot of exercises, and you're gonna like really understand how to create very, very powerful agents. And the result is that, like me, I never use a chat. I always have an agent, and whenever I'm talking about a client, I go to my agent about the client. Whenever that I do something for a project, for example, that I'm working on an EU-funded project, I have my agent for the EU-funded project. I never use a chat anymore, because I am now used to getting high quality output from the chat. And so that's the idea that we, for the workshop, Peter, the way to get into that workshop is to be part of the CampaignPro, which is for the standard one is 200 euros a year. And that gives you access to everything. Every Friday we have a session, we have a lot of networking opportunities, we have a digital platform where every one of us is, and you can interact, and you get this workshop in Brussels included. So it's one payment, and then that's it. Like that's everything else for a year that we do, you have access to everything.